Take the first one, the honorable burial of Jesus.
The burial of Jesus is so important because if the site of Jesus' grave were known in Jerusalem to both Jew and Christian alike, then it is impossible that a movement founded upon belief in the resurrection of Jesus could arise and flourish in Jerusalem in the face of a tomb containing his corpse. So the burial of Jesus is a very important step toward the inference to the empty tomb. And most scholars recognize that the burial account of Jesus is, in fact, historical. First of all, it is attested in independent early sources. This is one of the most important criteria that historians use in assessing the historicity of any event. If an event is independently attested in early sources, then it's much less likely to have been made up, but actually represents the facts. And in the case of Jesus' burial, we have multiple early sources for the fact of Jesus' burial in the tomb. First would be the pre-Markan Passion story, that is to say, the story of the final week of Jesus' life that was used by Mark in writing his gospel. This is one of the earliest sources behind the New Testament and probably goes back to within 10 years after Jesus' death to the eyewitnesses. A second early source would be the tradition that Paul passes on in his first letter to the church in Corinth, Greece. There Paul recites this formula that he himself received and then passed on to the Corinthians. And that formula says, Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures, and he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12. And the second line of that formula refers to Jesus' burial. This formula passed on by Paul has been dated to within the first 5 years after Jesus' crucifixion. Thus, we have independent attestation of Jesus' burial in two of the earliest sources behind the New Testament, not to mention a number of other sources, so that we have very good grounds for believing that, in fact, Jesus was buried in the tomb as the pre-Markan Passion story relates.